I mean, you even had RuPaul tell you that you were doing things that she's never done.
Yeah.
What was that conversation?
Well, I turned to her and I was like, well, why didn't you do it? No, I'm just kidding. What were you doing? No, I was at Watch What Happens Live with her. She gave me a hug and said, who are you? And
what is your name again? You look familiar.
Well, RuPaul likes all of us, but she has a notoriously bad memory.
Right, yeah.
So even on the podcast, she's like, Michelle, you're my best friend. What are your kids' names?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
As listeners, we're all like, she still doesn't know the names of the kids.
I know. But she was great, and RuPaul was like, I'm so happy you won, you deserve it. And she was like, you're doing things no one's ever done, not even me. And then whenever she talks about me in interviews, she always says that she thinks of me and she thinks of someone who fought for everything they had.
I mean, you did create it, you earned it, nobody gave it to you, sweetie, and here you are on top.
Yes, I'm back on the couch.
Yeah, and a better couch, higher.
Much better couch. This is amazing. You know, I take a lot of pride in, you know, on season 7, I went home 4th. Like, when I think about what I've gotten to do, but I think of it, even in season 7, RuPaul told me twice, like, you're not America's Next Drag Superstar. I took it as like, hold my beer, motherfucker. You know what I mean? For drag queens, if you tell us we can't do something, now we're just interested.
Right. Finally, we're gonna do it.
So, and also I was 24, 25, and I think like, I was given a taste of it, and then I watched other girls get the whole pie, and that just made me really fucking hungry for it. Like,
yeah.
And it made me think about, what do people like about me, and how do I bring that out and put a price tag on it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, drag, part of show business is business. And don't flatter yourself about what you think people like about you. If you don't think you're good at that, don't do it.
Right, and do what you're really good at and do it better than anybody else.
Yeah, I don't look good in front of Rainbow, so I'm pissed.
Oh,
you know,
shit! Take it all down.
I didn't wear rainbow. I'm sorry, but you know what though? If I had, I just would have been a floating head today.
You'd be like, where is she? Where did she go?
Yeah. Would you have gagged if I showed up in head to toe rainbow painted brick and I was like, this is awkward? But I had to wear pink because the rainbow doesn't have pink.
No, and you had to represent.
Yeah, it's a very important.
It's on brand. Now, in the film, there is a whole subplot about the drama that went on with Katya, and we actually see her leaving the set. Oh, there we go.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
What was the decision to put that into the film, and how did that whole process with you guys watching it together, what was that discussion like?
Well, I think one of the greatest advantages that this film has is it's not me filming it or editing it.
Right.
Even the producer and the director, all the conversations they had about the film, I never was in the room for. So we were on tour and they would step out and go have private talks about, I'm sure, about me and my feelings and my flaws and what the back of my bald head looks like, and you know. So I think in this situation, I just got to live those days of not kind of hell, you know?
Right.
And the storytellers of the film got to tell it in a way that was never generous, never exploitative. And if you don't know at home, we're talking about, obviously, last year, my Sonny and Cher partner, Katya, took time off doing drag to focus on, like, rehabilitation.
Right.
And we were in the middle of this huge professional, like, windfall of, oh my God, we're moving to television.
Yeah, you got your own show with your names on the top.
So it was at a time where we had this huge ball being tossed to us and this bomb dropped, and we were like, I think when you watch it in the film, it's like I said, it's never generous and exploitative, and it's, when Katya and I watched it together, which we did, we sat down in management office with room temperature Red Bull and just stared at the TV. What was important to both of us was we watched it and we were like, okay, this is deeply uncomfortable, but it does look and feel exactly like it felt in the room, which was nobody was angry or sad. It was just two friends at work going like, what do we do?
Right.
There's no answer, there's no shortcut. And I think that when you talk about mental illness or substance abuse in gay world, we're how many times more likely to be affected by that?
Yeah.
Editing things like that out of films is part of the problem. And in TRIXIE MATTEL form, it's never been my interest to pull punches with audiences. In music or jokes or looks or eyeliner, I go big. And so in this film, I think we paint it with absolute certainty of what it was.
Right.
And audiences who watch it, they feel like they're there in the room, and they ride the ride with us.
Yeah, and you guys are back together doing again.
Yeah. It's also
playing
movie
the
world.
Game. Yeah.
It's movie world. So 40 minutes later, months have gone by. She's much more herself.
Right.
And we're backstage making jokes again. So I think that if you think of like Paris is Burning, for example, some of those people were dead by the time that movie came out.
Right.
So I think we're doing okay.
Yes, you are.
But it's early. I could die today.
Tap, 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 tap. Let's talk about All Stars 3, the winning season.
People go on All Stars because they are an Alaska who's like, I'm here to take what I think I deserve. Or you're a Tatiana where you're like, I have nothing to lose because I'm fabulous, but these fans are so young, they actually just like don't know.
Right.
And old fans of Drag Race, we watch a Tatiana or a Sonique walk in and we're like, yes!
Yeah.
But the new babies, they don't really know. And for me, it was like, on All Stars, it was like, okay, I have spent years putting out my material in a way that I've sort of like amended whatever I felt bad about in season 7. And I think I have showed an audience a lot of value with what I do. And with All Stars, it was rolling dice again, and it was scary in that way. And we were filming Trixie and Katya every day until I left for All Stars.
Wow.
So I was in the studio doing Trixie and Katya 10 hours a day, going home and then gluing and sewing and hair and all night. So, because I had so much on the line.
Yeah.
Because I knew if TRIXIE MATTEL rollerbladed into this room, the homosexuals at the bar are gonna be like, they know that they have an expectation because of my body of work.
Yeah.
So I definitely was scared going in, and I don't have great memories from season 7 of Drag Race. It was not fun for me. I lost most of the time. So walking back in that workroom even, it was like walking the halls of the high school where you were given swirlies. You're like, you know. So you can tell in the first couple episodes, I was definitely scared. Definitely. I mean, I remember I'm watching myself on the talent show and I'm like, you're up there playing an auto harp, and I can see in my eyes that I'm panicked. And I don't get panicked anymore, but at the time I still really was just like panicked. Because also Katya had almost just won.
Right.
So then I was like, well, now I also have to live up to that.
Yeah.
I have to do at least as good as her. You know.
And the looks that you pulled, honey.
Yeah.
The looks. You took that Trixie aesthetic and you blew it up into encompassing a lot more variety, shades,
I wore red.
feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I've always been like, you can be a funny drag queen and not look like garbage. So it's like the conversation of, but she's funny, so she looks awful. That I've never want to be part of that conversation, if I can help it. Unless you're typing that right now at home, sorry. But I take it very seriously, and when you look at drag queens like the big name drag queens like Shangela, and like, you have this huge pool of resources, and we know that you're booked, and we know that you have all these designers. You don't have any reason to not look great.
Yeah.
You don't have any, frankly, but I mean, Drag Race is easier the second time because you actually have phone numbers in your phone of people who make costumes, and you actually have $10 to throw around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the first time on Drag Race, it was just like, Kim, can I borrow your jewelry? You know, like. So, I mean, on season 7, if you look close, a lot of my jewelry is made of paper. I'm wearing like silver paper cut into triangles on my ears.
Amazing.
Yeah. So on All Stars, it was like, how do I make every runway really good? Because I think on All Stars especially, you can do well in the challenge, but the runway is what pushes you to that top 2 or costs you that top 2 slot. So I had some great designers. I mean,
the books on the head with the tiny waist and the legs.
Yes.
I mean, talk about iconic look.
Oh my God. Jane Doe Latex, who made like Katya's mermaid dress. She made that outfit, that like pupil outfit. And then my friend Jacob, he made Alyssa's camera dress. He made my Barbie Jeep. He took books, gutted the pages out, and then stuffed them with foam so they were just light, and then stacked those on the head, and then there was an apple on top. And even RuPaul was like, how did you get the apple on top?
Yeah.
I was like, wouldn't you like to know?
Now, you had a pretty intimidating moment in Snatch Game where you tried to play
I don't
RuPaul right in front of RuPaul's face.
Triggered.
Now, take me back to that experience, living through it, and how you felt.
Well, have you ever gone on television and bombed everyone's favorite challenge dressed as the host of the show sitting in front of that person?
No.
It would be like if I showed up right now dressed as you.
Right.
And just was awful. And you'd be like, great. I mean, I swung big, and guess what, bitch? You either hit big or you miss so big. I will say in my defense, I was terrified. B, it was my first Snatch Game. Everybody else there had done it.
Right.
C, I'm dressed as the host, which do take nerve.
It do take nerve.
Nerve I did not have. And then D, I'm in the first chair. So every time RuPaul asks a question, guess who has to answer first? The other RuPaul.
Oh my God.
And then her, I mean, if you could have looked in her pupils, it took seconds before I watched her turn on me. Like, you're not doing it, and you're not funny, and I'm nothing like this. And
Oh
it was
my
just like,
God.
"Ah!" And then on top of that, it's everyone's favorite challenge. And I remember when it was over, I'd never done Snatch Game, and it was that thing on set where you're like wanting girls to tell you, just lie to me, tell me I'm safe. I'm like, I think I did good, right? And even Dela was like, nobody would lie to me. And then of course we filmed Snatch Game on a Friday, so I had the full weekend to sit in my hotel room and be like, are these curtains long enough to hang myself? Can I electrocute myself in this bathtub? Because you just bombed everyone's favorite challenge. You could lose 3 challenges, but if you win 1 Snatch Game, that's all people remember.
Right, for the rest of your life.
Favorite. So I felt so bad, and oh my God, I remember my boyfriend was at a bar watching it. I was abroad, I think, and he was at a bar watching it, and even he texted me, this is pretty hard to watch.
Oh boy.
To be honest though, I remembered it like such a full Nightmare on Elm Street nightmare that when I watched it on TV, I was like, oh, this is nothing like it was. It was worse. Oh, yes, it was worse.
Bitch.
It was an hour of bombing, an hour.
No.
And time just went slower, and the longer I bombed, the more I thought this was effective. Like, I don't know
Oh God.
what I was doing. It was so bad.
Lady Red, that's rough, right?
Yeah. But you know how fucking easy it is to do porn? Like, once you you know, it's like comedy. You're trying to jump in a jump rope, right? You feel the rhythm, and once you miss that first step and the jump rope hits you in the eye, you're like, I gotta go home. Like, it's really hard to jump into it. It was bad. It was awful. And then I was in the bottom, and then Shangela made me fear for my life because she's a television actress. It never occurred to me until after all that she never would have sent me home. I think she just wanted to fuck with me. And she wanted to fuck with me on national television. And bitch, she fucked with me because I was so sad. If you watch me cry, I mean, I cried so much that even Kennedy turned to me and was like, girl, get it together. You know? And she never talks to me, so that was huge.
Now, what about that Ben de la Creme self-elimination moment?
Oh, it was incredible. It was great. It was like I watched Seabiscuit break her leg, and I was like the one-legged pony, like, like this is my moment. But I didn't see it coming. Ben, after the fact, was like, I can't believe you didn't see that coming. I was like, no, bitch. I was shocked.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't run backstage like I was the father, but like I was shocked. You know, because you could see Kennedy like ran, Shangela like crouched and fake cried, and then I was just like. I mean, if you watch me on Drag Race, I think what I excel at is reacting authentically. And I don't pick up on the cues. So like, when she self-eliminates, of course, I think everyone in the room is like, oh, right, there's cameras. And then I was just sort of like, It's like when Todrick was like, you're doing this all live, and everyone's shocked, and I'm like I love that. But I was so like, why? I didn't understand. After the fact, I think I do understand. I think that winning Drag Race means that you stand by everything that the show offers, both the competition and the drama. And I think that the latter half of that was something Ben didn't want to wear the crown of.
Interesting.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, she's done fine.
Yeah,
she's
and some
doing
people,
great.
And some people were unhappy with the way that made the competition go because she was on her 5th win. The rest of us were like, well, shit, we're gonna have to kill her now. Like, if we want to win, we're gonna have to like get shady and eliminate her, or I don't know, just try to beat her at her own game, which is just start winning every. I mean, after episode 4, you really would have had to win every challenge then out, even to keep up with Ben.
Wow. That is serious. That's no easy feat.
Ben doesn't sew, and even in the sewing challenge, she was safe.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? She
Yeah.
is incredible, incredible. And I was like, how are you making this? How are you doing this? You're so good at Drag Race. And she said, it's actually easier than when Bianca was here.
Wow.
she was like, on my season, it was like none of us could touch her. And then, yeah, it was hard. Drag Race, you know, on All Stars, it is so hard to even be safe because everyone is rich and famous and confident.
Yeah. Like Millionaire's Runway.
Oh my God! Look at who lands in the bottom and for what? Like Thorgy on her green, like the look she got eliminated in. That would be a winning runway on season 8.
Agreed.
But on All Stars, that's a bottom runway.
Right.
I mean, so many times RuPaul says off camera, like, "Girls, we're really splitting hairs here. You all are like superstars. We just have to make an elimination because it's so close sometimes, especially when you look at how different drag queens are. How do you compare a BB to a Tammy Brown? Those are barely the same DNA, you know what I mean? So I think that it's really, that's what makes Drag Race so compelling to watch is, no matter how well people do, it comes down to what your taste is. Like Pheromone, her bombing a roast challenge, I was like, she won my heart. She's the one.
Yeah.
Her being like, well, Michelle, you're not talented. Like, I was like, that's the funniest thing. So we all like drag queens for different reasons. And so it's like, it's a competition, but also it's the Sophie's choice with the audience. You never know what people are gonna respond to.
Totally.
You know?
Do you think BB had your name on her lipstick?
Yes, I do, Johnny. Yes, I do. I think about it 6 times a day, and I think I do. In the moment, I think I was delusional enough that I was like, it's not me. But, because I love BB, and you know, BB and I mean, my first night out at a gay bar, I was 21 years old, and I went to a gay bar alone in drag, which, why? But BB Zahara was performing on August 23rd on my birthday at a gay bar in Milwaukee. And I went there, and she was performing there, and I was in drag like, oh my God, that's a famous drag queen. And I went to the meet and greet by myself, 21 years old with no one, and I gave her a hug, and she said, stick with drag, it'll take you anywhere. And that was so cool to me at the time, and then it was cool to be with her on Drag Race competing, and I 100% think she had my name. And I 100% think she didn't pick it because she didn't want my very enthusiastic followers to burn her house down. I mean, honestly, it's the Kitty Girl Challenge, and it was me, BB, Ben, Shangela, and Kennedy. And Shangela and Kennedy did most of the choreography.
Right.
So I'm like, God, if she did pick me, I sort of get why. Because her and Ben won the challenge, and Shangela and Kennedy did the most legwork of choreographing it. And I think I benefited from picking maybe a cool character, but I was like, you know, I think my character is more specific than like Diva Kitty.
Yeah.
But I think they did more. Like if she would have eliminated me, I wouldn't have been shocked.
And she would have been getting rid of her biggest competition.
Yeah, and when that's the other thing about, they don't talk about this on All Stars, it's against your best interest to have any promise of winning. Because if you walk into All Stars, you're like, and you're Shangela, you have a target on your back because people are like, I can't win if she's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't you think on All Stars when Katya walked in, people were like, well, we either have to kill her. You know, nobody talks about the push and pull of the politics of eliminating people and what you have to deal with afterward.
Yeah.
Like people saying Naomi Smalls should kill herself, which, you know, I'm not going to go either way on that. But, but people are always like, what do you think about drag queens getting death threats? I'm like, these people read the comments. Don't read the comment, Beth.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hello, children. To see part 3 of this interview, click here. To see more Hey Qween fabulousness, click here. And don't forget to subscribe, bitch! Hey! Hey! Hey!